Welcome to MAKE, Hands-on Intro to Engineering Design, a course taught at the University of South Florida. This tutorial introduces Autodesk Inventor.
Hi, today I'm going to be discussing Autodesk Inventor Professional 2014. This is the software that we're going to use to make our designs on the computer for the MAKE course. The software is free for students from the Autodesk website, as is all of their software for students, so you should check that out. Autodesk Inventor is essentially a 3D modeling software. There's two major types of work environments that we'll be working with here in Inventor. The first is the part environment. Parts are saved as .ipt files, and then assembly files, which are saved as .iam files. So first I'm going to discuss the parts here. I have a part open. Uh, this is a model of one of the cylinders from the rotary airplane engine that can be found on the sample projects section of the Make course website. A part is made of a 2D drawing that has been extruded to create a solid surface. Within these 2D drawings, you can define your dimensions, various features of the part, and to create the solid, you can extrude, revolve, or sweep this sketch along a path. This will allow you to create the 3D part. Once the 3D part has been created, you can then modify these parts with additional features such as fillet, chamfers, drafts, etc. This is the environment that you'll be working in to create the components within your system. To navigate within the 3D environment of the parts and actually all of the 3D environments within Autodesk Inventor, you can use the mouse, and by scrolling with the mouse wheel you can zoom in and out. If you hold down the mouse wheel and move it around, you can pan within a plane. And then finally, to rotate, you can click on this cube here in the upper right hand corner, and this will allow you to rotate the model. As well as if you click on a surface, it will bring you normal to that surface. You can also click on a corner to give yourself an isometric view. Now, the next section we'll talk about is assemblies. This environment allows you to assemble the parts you've created into a single system. This is done by placing all of your components within the assembly and then applying various constraints to these parts. Constraints such as concentric or flush. These allow you to build your system digitally and then test for motion or interference or any other design requirements. And in this way, you can model your 3D device on the computer accurately. So a typical design workflow for working in Autodesk Inventor would be to first create all of your parts with the proper dimensions and features, etc., within the part environment. Once all of your parts have been created, you can then take those into an assembly, place them into the assembly, and apply the various constraints to these parts that you have created. Once you've done this, you can then test, like I said, for all the various design constraints, and in this way, you can completely build your model and test it on the computer prior to building it. So this has been a brief overview of the basics of Autodesk Inventor. In the next videos, I will be discussing in detail parts as well as assemblies.
This concludes our tutorial. Thanks for watching.